Happy Thursday out there to everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Coach Deborah D. Smith of Build Your Best Life, and I am so excited to have you here today because you could have been anywhere else, but you decided to join us. So thank you so much. You know, it is all about your actions, not only what you say, it's the movement of your eyes, what you write, your hand gestures, all of these things speaks volumes to others and are your actions. So ensure that your actions are matching what you want others to see. Thank you so much again. Please come on in. Please like, share, comment. But I really appreciate it if you would share the page with others, turn on notifications so you will know each and every time we go live here on Build Your Best Life. Please subscribe to my YouTube page. I would appreciate that as well. Now, this month, our theme is Grow Opportunities and Launch Success. Grow opportunities and launch success. It's all about goals. We have to know where we are going in order to get there. If we have no clue, no idea what our purpose is, our passion, our goals, then how do we expect to get there? So we want to get those things. Now, today I'm going to be talking on the topic thing. Thanks for the tips. Thanks for the tips. Now, no. I'm not talking about the tips when you get service. No, I'm not talking about that at all. I am talking about feedback. You know, a lot of times when we speak or we're on a program, we do what we do every day, whatever it is, we wonder to ourselves, how did I do? Did I do okay? And especially if you've done something for the first time, if you're in a new position, whether it is a work position or in an organization or whatever, you're wondering how you're doing. Well, many times you won't know that unless you get what? Some feedback. Feedback can be very valuable. So, those are the tips that I am talking about today. The feedback that we can get from others. Now, you can glean information of areas that you excel in and those that you need to work on. But a key principle in feedback is that the receiver, which would be you, if you're getting the feedback, that you are open to receiving the helpful tips because we're hoping that it's not coming from a place of negativity and not really warranted, but we're hoping that those tips or that feedback that you are getting is valuable feedback. So then you also need to listen intently. Someone is giving you an opportunity to work on those things in your life that's going to make what you do every day, every month, every week, whatever, but you enjoy doing, but make you be able to do it to the best of your ability because now you have some feedback, some information that is going to help you as you go along with these tips. And then thirdly, use the information to improve. You know, it's nothing worse than you, let's just say you are in the workplace, you get a performance review, and they say, oh, you meet expectations. And all this time you've been thinking, I thought I exceeded expectations, at least in one or two areas, but you got meet expectations, meaning that you're just doing the average. But you want to do so much more. You thought that you were doing that. So if you were to ask that person that scored you, I actually thought that I was doing a lot better than meet. Is there any feedback that you can offer me that will help me to do better in the future? Well, There's nothing worse. Excuse me. There's nothing worse than if they do give you that valuable feedback and you do nothing with it. And then fast forward a year later and you're still average or meeting expectations. So when you get that information, thank the person that's giving you the feedback, and then you need to do something with that. Good evening, Deacon Holmes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Excuse me. Now, when you are getting this feedback, it gives you an opportunity for certain things. So it gives you an opportunity to sit there and listen. Don't get bogged down in, oh, you turn in an essay, you look at the score, it's not the score that you wanted, so you just shut down. You don't look at the comments that your professor put on your paper that's going to assist you in doing better next time. You just shut down. All you can see is that score. It's more than about that score, because if that professor has said something in their comments that is going to assist you in doing a better job on your next essay, hey, you need to pay attention to that information. Absorb what they're saying. If you don't get it, you need to ask. And I know some people get intimidated and you don't want to ask professors questions, but if you don't know and you don't ask, then you cannot get clarity. When I was working on my master's degree in 2020 and 2021, the big thing is writing papers. You're supposed to be able to do a great job in writing essays, writing papers. And so you have to put in all the footnotes and everything. Well, I purchased the manual. I got each professor's notes. I got the key from the college. And so, hey, I'm trying to use all these things to do a good job. But then when I got my first paper back from a professor, it was like I didn't do this right, I didn't do that right. And then I go back and I look. And so I'm looking at, what it says and how you're supposed to write the footnote to make it correct. And I know I'm saying footnote is not a footnote. The citation, that's what it is. Your citations for your paper. And I'm just like, I am so confused. What I'm reading, I don't understand. So a lot of people would have just said, okay, but no, I very politely went back and said, apologize, but I have a couple questions. I had read in the manual, and I thought that I had completed the citations correctly, but you're stating here to do blah, blah, blah. Well, and I did that each time I got an issue with one, because guess what? Professors are human as well. And what I found out, they don't all interpret these guidelines the same. So we were supposed to be using the APA format, the 7th edition, and where you would do one thing for one professor, the next professor would tell you that was wrong, that you needed to do this. And so it wasn't all crystal clear. So the best thing that you could do is to try to follow the process, but then ask questions. So when you get that feedback and you're not sure, hey, okay, I thought I read that about 5 times and I'm not understanding, you need to ask those questions. However, I always talk about how important it is to listen. So while that person is talking and giving you that feedback, make sure that you are listening. You're taking note of everything they're saying. And so you will be clear on that. But when they finish, make sure, before we're done, I have a couple questions. Is it okay for me to ask you those questions? And then you need to do that, because you want to make sure you're clear. And as I stated, professors are human as well. Good evening, Agnes. Thank you for tuning in. So you're listening. You want to make sure that you absorb everything they say. And then you need to do something with that information. It's not going to do me any good if one of my friends, oh, I have to tell y'all a real funny story. So I gotta have to think about when this was. I don't know if it was last Tuesday or last Thursday. But one of those nights, as I did my, it was last Tuesday, as I did my live broadcast, yes, that's when it was. It was Tuesday because I was supposed to have a guest, but they weren't able to come on at the last minute. So I had to do a solo. So I did my broadcast and I finished up and I had a session with my coach earlier that day and we talked about the ends of my broadcast. And so I was very, very conscious of winning in, making sure that once I end and y'all see my closing, that it does not come back to me looking at you because I'm supposed to be gone, right? So I sit here, I finish the live. Just as I finish and I say, good night, and I end it, my phone vibrates, and it's my husband. So, I was waiting for you to get off. What do you want for dinner? And so we go back and forth like we do it every single night. It's like, what do you want? I don't know. What do you want? But as we are talking, I have my phone propped up on my phone stand. I start to stand up and we're talking just like I'm talking now. So then I get up, I'm taking my green screen down, walking around back and forth. But do have a thumbnail up so nobody can see me, but they could hear me. So broadcast is supposed to be over. So this must have gone on with he and I for about 5 minutes or more. So we just going back and forth. So then I go around my desk and then I'm looking for sanitizing solution. So I'm in my closet that's right off from my office, and I'm still talking loud. And so then the phone rings, and I tell my husband, "Okay, you got to hold on. This is little Dan." So it's my grandson. He's on the phone. He says, "Nana, I was going to get on to listen at your broadcast after." He said, "But it's still on. It didn't never turn off." And I was like, "Huh?" So I come back to my desk, and sure enough, for whatever reason, I guess I did not hit end broadcast twice. Well, while I'm talking to him, then somebody else called and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I just want to let you know your broadcast is still running." So I'm like, "Oh my goodness, thank you so much." You weren't bothering me. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do because I don't know how to get rid of all that talking at the end. But it was so funny. But I said that to say, anybody can make a mistake. Now, had my grandson and my friend Cynthia called me and said, "Oh, you something's wrong with your broadcast," and I just said, "Oh, okay, thank you," and gone on about my business, then that thing would have just went on and on and on and on. I don't know how long that tape would have gone. But I was getting some feedback that something was wrong. So I listened to what both of them said, came back to my desk, made sure it had ended. But then I was like, oh my goodness, everybody that goes and listens to this later on, they're gonna hear all of this talking about going to get something to eat. What do I want to eat? Hear me talking to my grandson, hear me talking to my friend. So from that, I did learn something to make sure that I hit and broadcast twice. And I also had to do research. I had to do something about that tape that was out there that people were going to think this lady lost her mind. So I had to figure out how on Facebook to trim the broadcast. And as I say that, I just thought about you didn't do it on YouTube. But anyway, so I learned. It took me probably 30 minutes, but I learned how to trim the broadcast. But again, I'm saying all of that to say you have to Listen when people are giving you feedback, understand what they say, and if you don't, ask questions. But then you have to do something with the information. If not, it's just a waste of their time and your time as well. Good evening, Dan. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, unless you believe that you are receiving feedback or information from someone and it's not correct, or they made a mistake themselves, then that feedback is valuable and is a valuable asset. And that is something that we can really use, because anytime we can improve ourselves, that's a wonderful thing. And if someone can give you something that you need to work on that you haven't realized yourself, that's extra special. So, I'm going to give you a few things that will assist you in receiving feedback, because now I know everybody does not like feedback. They'll be honest, put it in the chat. I don't like feedback. But you have to, first of all, ensure that you listen intently, as I stated before. So that means that you're not thinking about, well, why they have to give me feedback now? I'm not interested in that. I just want to know what my grade was. I just want to know if I got a raise. I just want to know if I met expectations. I don't want any feedback. That's the wrong attitude to have. However, if you can have all of that running around in your head, they may say something that's very, very valuable that you can use, and you're going to miss it because you have all of that rumbling, that noise going off in your head, uh, that's blocking out some valuable information that this person is willing to give you. So just clear yourself, clear your mind. Okay, they're giving me feedback. If I don't listen to it and understand it, it's not going to help me, even if I need the feedback. So if you think you're 100, you're perfect, you don't need any feedback, you're not going to hear whatever it is if you don't listen. So that's the first key. The second thing is, and mentioned this earlier, if you are unclear of what they are saying, ask for clarity. There's no reason why you cannot ask questions. You may not want to interrupt them while they're in a flow of telling you something. You know, they could say, uh, well, you're giving a speech for Toastmasters, but we're doing it via Zoom. And so then the person has to evaluate your speech. And the first thing out of their mouth is, well, you could tell you were reading. Well, actually, I wasn't, but I just went ahead and listened to what he had to say, right? Yes, I did have notes up, and I have to refer to them, and that's the same thing we would do in Toastmasters. But I still listened to hear whatever else he had to say. I didn't just close him down and like, you know what? I don't even want to hear it. So I listened. All right. So I knew the next time to make sure that, not either not put my notes up there or make sure that they understood that I was using the appropriate eye contact. Right. So I was scanning my room, my audience, although there was nobody for me to scan to, because all I have is a computer that's right here. So I had to pretend. But that did help me to understand, I have to pretend that I have an audience. But ask for clarity if you don't understand. I understood what he meant, but sometimes we don't understand. Excuse me. If you don't take notes as you're listening, because a lot of times they say, if you're trying to take notes, you may miss something. I have to take notes, because if I don't, I won't remember everything. However, if you like jotting down things or whatever, or you're trying to remember everything that they say, do yourself a favor. As soon as you're done, get to a place where you can jot it down, because you want to make sure this is what they said. This is what I thought I heard them say that I need to work on. And if you're not sure, like, okay, that doesn't make sense, then you have an opportunity to go back and ask, right? So if you don't have a photographic memory, well, not a photographic memory, but what is it? I guess auditorial memory, where you remember everything you hear. You don't need to jot it down. I know there are people like that. Um, Make sure that as soon as you can, capture the information so you will have it. Then take a moment to digest the information. Okay, this is what they said. What does that mean? You know, when were there times that I did that or I didn't do that I needed to do? Because sometimes you don't do something because you're not aware that you need to do it, or you don't know that you're supposed to do it, if that makes sense. And I'm trying to think of an example. Uh, let's see. So if they made a new rule and they said that it's okay for you to keep recycled paper at your desk. However, you can no longer take it to the print room on each floor and deposit it in there, that you have to take any paper to odd floors, and you have to take any other objects to even floors. Don't know why you missed the memo. You don't remember seeing an email on that. You don't remember anybody saying anything about it. You don't remember it from a staff meeting. So you couldn't do it because you weren't aware that you were supposed to do it. So now that you're looking at it, you're like, okay, how crazy is this? I have to remember, if it's paper, I have to take it to our floor. But if it's anything else, so what would is, and then I would want to know, well, what is anything else? Is that the wrapper on the paper? Is that considered something else? You know, is an old file folder. It's made out of paper, it's a thicker paper, but so where is this information coming from? Is there a procedure that goes along with it that explains what goes on which floor? So then you would need to go back and ask that for clarity. So this is why you want to go back and digest everything and then think about it. So now that you thought about it, if you have questions, you've gone back. Do you agree with the feedback? If not, what do? You can ask yourself why you disagree. So, in that example that I just gave, I can say, well, now, if I don't have an email, it's not posted in the print room because I went and looked. I haven't heard anybody else say that. Is there such a rule? So that's a good reason to disagree, right? So again, you need to find clarity for somebody. Okay. You may find that email for whatever reason, because it came from a different department altogether. And you don't get much mail from the area that is responsible for recycling. It went in your spam. So you never did read the email. There was a sign in your print room, but it fell. Nobody ever bothered to put it back up. So it could be a reason why you don't know. So you need to find out. Okay. Another thing is, that was a simple one to get a reasonable explanation. But say it's like, I don't know. I thought about it and I thought about it, and I don't understand how they're coming up with that one. Ask someone else that you are in class with, you work with, that would see the same things that this person saw. And ask them, so let me ask you a question about me. Ask you a question about you. Yes. Um, And then you just ask them outright, and then they can tell you, "No, I've never noticed that you do that," or "Yes, that's that's just a habit you have." And what's that? The person could again, this is a silly thing for feedback, but I can't think of anything else right now. That one of the things they gave you feedback on was that every single time they'll have a departmental meeting, the meeting starts, and 5 minutes later, you get up each time, every single meeting. And so you're thinking to yourself, why would I get up every meeting after 5 minutes? That makes no sense. And so then when you ask someone else, let me ask you a question. When we have staff meetings, do I get up and go out? Why are you asking me that? You know you get out, you get up every time, like maybe 5 minutes after we get in there. You know you always leave out. I thought you had like a phone call or something that you would have to make it at a certain time or something. That was something that have worked out, that you have this meeting, but it's something that you have to do at a certain time, or you have to take medicine or something. No. Oh, you don't? So where do you go? To the restroom. So what does that tell you? The person that gave you the feedback, they don't have a problem with someone having to go to the restroom. But if at every single meeting you're there for 5 minutes and you're going to the restroom, now someone else is telling you, yes, you do that. That's telling you something. What do you need to do? You need to go before you go to the meeting, right? Take care of that. But that feedback is valuable because you just formed a habit out of doing something that you're just doing. So you sit at your desk and you work to the last minute, so you don't have time to go to the restroom. You just go in the meeting and you sit down, put your stuff down, and then it's like, I gotta go. So those are some things that you can do when you are, you're not really sure. And then you can also make sure that if you need to go back to the original person, if you talk to somebody and they like, I don't know what you're talking about, or whatever, you don't know and nobody else knows. All right. Um, but you have to decide that you are open to feedback. It's a choice. You don't have to take feedback. You can say, you don't need it. You know what you're doing. You know when you do it, whatever. They're just wasting their time, or you got it. So just think about it that way. It's a choice. But you do people the courtesy of listening if there's something they want to tell you. It could be a friend that's noticed that something that you do. And they just, girl, I want to tell you, did you notice that uh, whenever we go in a meeting, you take your pen and the whole time we're in there, you're taking it apart and putting it together, taking it apart and putting it together, taking it apart and putting it together. Did you realize you do that? No. And I think it gets on Ellen's nerves because she always is giving you the side eye. But you just keep doing it. So I just thought I'd mention it to you because I don't know if I guess you're doing it out of nervous habit. But, it could be something as simple as that. But, receive the feedback. Whatever you want to do with it is your choice. But you can use it as a valuable asset because to me, I know from experience, working in corporate America, working my own business, being on this platform, being an officer or a leader in different organizations, that feedback can be very, very helpful. So if you decide, hey, thanks for the tips, I got it. You need to do what? Put a plan in place that's now going to help you. So you already know what it is. You've identified, yes, I do need to improve in that area. Put a plan in place. You got this. And when I say you got this, that does not mean that you know what to do about it. Because that clicking of a pen Some people, once you tell them that, they stop. Because I had one of the managers that worked with me, he used to take his pen and he would do that all the time. And one day, I don't know if I was just having one of those moments, I was like, stop it. Like, what? I said, you keep looking at that pen. Oh, okay, 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 okay. And he didn't do it anymore. So I don't know. So you we just have quirks. But sometimes we can work on things ourselves, but sometimes we need additional resources. So think about whatever it is that you have received that feedback on. Is it that you think of? I know one of mine, and I probably still do this sometimes. My manager used to always tell me that I think in black and white, meaning if there's a rule, I'm going to abide by the rule. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. If it's not black, it's not white. Uh-uh. And she's like, well, you can't, it's good to know the rules, but sometimes you got to think in shades of gray. You got to go outside the box. And so it took me a while, but that was something I had to work on. So that wasn't something that I could fix myself. I had to keep getting with her. Okay, anytime something comes up, that's an example, let me know. Uh, if you see any workshops or anything out there that you think will benefit me, let me know. So you may be someone, the uh, issue that you're going through, it may be something that you need to attend a workshop for. A quick webinar may work. It may be something that um, you may even need a degree on because let's just say it has to do with communication and you apply for this job and you put down that you had all these credentials as far as communication. Now you are tasked with being a top communicator at your company. So you are sent out on behalf of VPs, senior VPs, the CEO. You're the face a lot of times of the company. Are you clear and concise? Are you not using a lot of filler words? Are you using slang? How's your grammar? You're in that position. And if this person is giving you feedback, apparently they want to help you. So it may be that you even need to go and get a degree. So you didn't have a degree in communication, but you were able to provide that you've worked in this area doing this type of communication for 2 years. You were here and worked there for 3 years. But now when you need to do the heavy duty lifting, what you have is not working. So you may need to go to school to take a communication class. You may just need a mentor or a coach. But whatever it is, find out what it is that you need. If it's something that you can handle on your own, that's great. Mine, I know I use filler words. Sometimes I don't remember, like, okay, I lost my train of thought. I sometimes use my gestures too much. You're supposed to use them, but sometimes I use them too much. So I know that. See, so I'm not supposed to do that. Toastmasters will help with that. So I joined Toastmasters again. So I attend Toastmasters regularly. So that is something that I know was helpful and it helped me. So you just need to decide what to do and do it. But if you need assistance, make sure that you begin sooner rather than later. Don't keep putting it off because you'll find yourself a whole year has gone by and you are where you were that time last year. So if someone has given you some valuable feedback, utilize whatever part of that that will help you to do better. If you don't have a coach or mentor, you can't afford one, or you don't know of anyone that can fulfill that role for you right now, get an accountability partner. You have a friend or someone at work that will be your accountability partner. And it can be your manager or whoever gave you that feedback. Because they gave you the feedback, that doesn't mean that they're your enemy. They uh, are trying to help you as well. So, just ask them, well, right now I think a coach or mentor would really benefit me. I know I don't have the finances right now for a coach. I don't know of anyone that can mentor me. So I need an accountability partner. Are you willing to be an accountability partner for me to let me know when I'm slipping or whatever? One thing they can tell you, yes or no. So that person can be a very good person. And then they definitely know that you're working on it. So, hey, that's good. Then be intentional. You have to be intentional. I've got that. Someone gave you some good tips. You decided you're going to work on them, start working on them. You got someone to help you be accountable. Now be intentional and then be consistent. Consistent, because when we work on things continually, it becomes a habit. Continue using the feedback to become a better person, a better you, and build your best life. So I hope that you liked the tips. I hope the tips were beneficial and worked for you. As we talked about this today, excuse me, when you have something that you can do better and you have not been aware of it, but now you are. So again, thank you for tuning in today. Please visit my website, www.buildyourbestlife.org. That's www.buildyourbestlife.org. You can find my blog that I release every Monday. You can see my calendar of events. You can find out more about the platform. You can see the services that I offer, which is coaching, consultation, speaking, and webinar speaking. And you can get an autographed copy of my book, Build Your Best Life. Yes, an autographed copy. I can get it in the mail to you quickly. I have them in stock. So you can just go do that by going on my website. Also, if you say, I would love to have a book, I just, it's too much paper. I don't like clutter. If you had a Kindle version, I like that. Amazon.com, they got you. So build your best life. If you don't have a copy, get a copy. It will benefit you and those around you, anyone that you feel can benefit from building their best lives. It is Saturday in 2 days. And guess what? The quarter has come around again, and Chucks for Pearls and Earls. My girls, we are going to be back on Saturday. I am super excited. Yes, we will be back on. We love coming on and sharing with the audience. This Saturday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be talking about self-improvement. September is self-improvement month. So we have some topics that we're going to be talking about that will assist you and helping you to be a better you. It doesn't matter if you are 5, 15, 25, 55, 75, or 95. It doesn't matter if you are male or female. We have something for you. So please tune in Saturday. We will be looking for you. And that's Anastasia, Anita, Carol, and myself. We are the Pearls, and we got the backs of the Earls. So again, thank you so much for tuning in today. It's always a pleasure to have you here because, again, you could have been anywhere else. So thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, as you travel on your road to being a better you, there will be distractions, rough terrain, pitfalls, and detours. Don't let any of those negative aspects of your journey stop you. Though they may slow you down, keep going to be a better you so that you can build your best life. And remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. See you Saturday. Bye bye.